встречаемся сегодня с удивительным человеком. Элейн Вилсон, она стояла у истоков нашей школы. Первые обмены, первые книги, которые появились в нашей библиотеке. Все это благодаря Элейн Вилсон. Элейн специально для празднования 20-летия школы приехала из Соединенных Штатов Америки в Москву. Я считаю, что нужно за это поблагодарить Элейн аплодисментами. И у сегодняшнего вечера есть еще одна замечательная особенность. Он проходит на английском языке. Поэтому я передаю микрофон Суховой Нине Владимировне, и далее мы общаемся на родном для Элейн языке.
We do not invite Elaine to the table now, because we do not yet. Because on the screen you will see the result of our great work, because we looked through all the videos which were made within these 20 years, and we found very interesting chronicles which will be a surprise for Elaine. Besides, we are very grateful to Elaine for sending us her pictures, which probably she will comment on later. Okay? Now, just a surprise for Elaine.
Students here to the Soviet Union or to Moscow, because I believe that the world...
Я привезла своих учеников в Москву, в Советский Союз, потому что мы верим, что мир меняется, и классные стены становятся узкими. Их надо открыть, и весь мир должен стать классной комнатой. Ребята здесь будут знакомиться не только с культурно-историческими памятниками, но в школе они будут изучать историю, архитектуру, экономику, различные аспекты жизни вашей страны.
Invite Elaine to her place. The first question is, do you remember the period of time when you gave this interview?
Yes.
Take a seat.
Yes, I do. I had a different hairstyle, didn't I? Now, what do we do next?
If you comment on the situation.
This one?
Just, yeah, I mean...
That's a
the
star.
video.
Have you been to STAR, to the
video.
Space Center? And when you, this is one of the teachers that went with me that year, came to Moscow with students. And she's still alive and well. And she now sells houses to people who are looking for new places to live. And we are pointing to Moscow and to Pennsylvania, where we came from. And that's the distance.
Do you know
Oh, there, my friend, huh? My very good friend. That's the library. Oh, Regina and Lena. Do they know them? They don't know Lena. Lena was one of the teachers who came with Regina to the United States as part of our exchange program.
Now we would like to ask our students to start with the questions to Elaine. So who would start with the questions? You're welcome.
Would you say, when did you got the idea that you can come to Russia and to teach Russian students and to start the exchange programs?
That is a long, there's a long answer to that question. Are you sure you're ready for it? Yes, well, the question about when did I get the idea to come here? I never got the idea to come here. The Russians got the idea to bring me here. I have started 2 schools in the city of Moscow, and the first one was not called a school. It's Dom Stinkiewicz, and it's not too far from Arbat Street. And the woman who started that school started it during the time that Gorbachev was president. And at that time, you were not allowed to call a school that was not part of the state education system, the USSR, you were not allowed to call it a school. So it was called Children's Courses in English Literature, Grammar, and Social Studies. At that time, it was also still the USSR, not the Russian Federation of today. So therefore, it was very difficult sometimes for people to get mail between the United States because the Berlin Wall was still up. And so people were suspicious on both sides of the wall. So they couldn't get anybody from the United States that they knew of who could come to Russia and help them. I had a friend, this is a long story, I had a friend who is a doctor, and he is a doctor for children. And he was coming to Russia, and he was going to go to St. Petersburg, coming to Moscow first, and then he was going to St. Petersburg so that he could visit a children's hospital in St. Petersburg. It was called Leningrad then. He is a man who is very nervous, and he had asked me when he was in the States if I would send some students' artwork for him to present as a gift to the children at the hospital in Leningrad. When he got to Moscow, he never heard from the school or from the hospital in Leningrad, and the man became very frightened. He couldn't come back to the United States with all of my art because I would kill him. I had put a lot of time into my students getting that work prepared and ready for him and put in a big folder to carry over here. So he decided he had to find somebody in Moscow to give the artwork to, and he didn't know who it was. At that time, you still had the Rosia Hotel behind St. Basil's Cathedral. Anyway, you had the Rosia Hotel, which was huge. He is on an elevator in the Rosia Hotel. He doesn't speak one word of Russian. He says, on the elevator, he said, "Does anybody speak English on this elevator?" And a woman at the front said, "Yes." He said, "I want to talk to you." She said, "Get off the elevator here." He didn't know her. It got off the elevator. She said, "I teach children, and we are starting a school, and I teach English, and we are starting a school which becomes Domstinkivich." She said, "I can have my children meet you, and we can take the artwork from you." He had explained to her. So he went up to his room, and he said to his wife, "This is wonderful news. Somebody will take all of this art. This is wonderful." She said, "Who?" He said, "Some lady named Allah." She said, "Allah who?" He said, "I don't know Allah who, just Allah." He said, "We have to get on the metro and go to the very end of the line and get off, and there's a park, and then we will give her the artwork." And the woman said, "I am suspicious of Allah. I don't like this. I'm going too." She was jealous of her husband. So her friends, they had two friends with them, and they told their friends, and their friends said, "You can't go alone. We're going too." So 4 people got on the metro, went clear to the end of the line, got off. There's the park. There's Allah. There are the Russian children. And they all spoke English, so they had a party. They had a good time, and the man was happy. He got rid of the artwork. Allah took this artwork back to the lady, Natalia Promislova, who was the director of Domstinkivich, gave it to her, and Natalia said, "This is very interesting. Now we have a connection with an American educator." Me. They didn't know me, but they did know that they had somebody in the United States that they could get in touch with. But they couldn't send me a letter, and they didn't have a phone number. So the next thing that they did was they wrote a letter, and they gave it to a person who was going to Scotland, to a conference. Gave the letter to the lady in Scotland, looked around, found somebody who was from the United States, said, "Will you take this letter back to the United States, put a postage stamp on it, and send it to this lady named Elaine Wilson? We don't know her," but the letter was 13 pages long, 13 pages. They listed all of these books that they wanted to start this school. They had British books, and many of you, especially your teachers, who have access, very easy access during the Cold War years to British people, you speak your English with a British accent. And that's not an American accent, but it's English, and we all understand each other. However, they wanted some books that were printed by companies in the USSA, or the USA. So, I thought, I'm a person who says yes when something happens. I think I'll try it. So I went to work the next day, and I called very big publishing companies in the United States, and I said, can you send books to Russia? They said, we never did that. With the USSR, they said, we never did that. I said, well, I think we can. They said, this is crazy. How can you do that? And I said, I think I can. Well, not only did I do that, but I went over and I worked at that school to help get the school started and organize the library and the curriculum for the children to study. And that's how I met Tatiana. Tatiana came to the school to look for a job. She wanted to do something. And guess what she ended up doing? Look at what you have here. Look at this. So she taught there for a while, and she said to me, I'd like to start my own school. Can you help me? And what do you think I said again? Yes, of course I can help you. And then from that, we started the school, and we started putting books in the library, and Tatiana said to me, don't you think it would be nice if we did an exchange for students? And you bring some American students here, and I bring some Russian students to the United States? And what do you think I said? Yes, yes. And so we did that, and we have had, I thought last night, I have known Tatiana for 22 years. And I remember the first time I saw her, and I looked at her, and I thought, you know, I don't know this woman, but this woman is already my friend. Just one of those, you know, you have those connections sometimes, and it's proven to be true. We did have that connection. We both say yes a lot. That was a long answer to that. Is anybody else brave enough to ask me another question? Yes, we have a brave soul. Yeah.
And when was your last trip to Moscow and your last visit to our school, and how was it?
My last trip to Moscow and my last trip to this school, because why would I ever come to Moscow and not come to see Tatiana and this school? That would be, I would never do that. It was 4 years ago. You see, Marina, Tatiana's daughter, and I share the same date for our birthday. So I came that year, and Marina and I had a big party for 2 people, because it was our birthday. So it was 4 years ago that I was here, the last time.
Are you going to stay for your birthday here?
No, not this year, but I'm
It's not
staying
fair.
close to the day, and we will celebrate a little ahead. You see, in the United States, it's not a tradition in the United States to celebrate your birthday day after day after day after day after day. But I have many friends, and I enjoy them, and they don't all know each other. So it's on your birthday, it's not the time to have people meet each other. It's the time to celebrate the fact that you lived long enough to get to another year, and you're going to have another year too. So what I do is I celebrate for about 3 weeks. That's true. I go to dinner. I already have one of my presents for my birthday. My friends are all trained. They know to start to celebrate my birthday any time that the month of February comes. So somebody came, right before I came to Moscow, 2 days ago, somebody came to my house with my first card and my present. So I already have one. And we will celebrate 2 weeks, but we don't know what day yet. But we can celebrate for a couple of days too, because we are very much alike. Same date. That makes a difference. Another question?
Okay, who would like to ask questions?
Budapest.
Which presents? The next one.
The birthday presents.
Did- The next present. Listen, if you wrap something up and give it to me, I'm happy with whatever's in the box. I love presents. I say yes to presents too. Another question? You are a brave man.
You have helped to establish 2 schools in Russia, and you work in a college in Pennsylvania. So you are the person who knows all the similarities and differences in our education systems. Would you please list them and say what's good in Russia and what's in America?
What's good?
Yeah.
What's good in both countries in education is the attitude of the students and how thankful they are to have a good education and to have families that support them as yours do. The children who have it the best are the ones whose parents support them in helping them learn. You have one chance to get your education, one time. There's a block of time when you are a young person where you're supposed to get educated. And some people take advantage of it, and some people don't. You are, and if you weren't before you came in here, you are now. Yes, you are. Of course you are. If you go to school, study, listen, pay attention, you save a lot of time in your life to have more fun and do more things because you have used your time wisely. You take advantage of everything that comes along and you do the best that you can with it. In the United States, we have students who don't go to school sometimes. Sometimes they don't go to school very much at all. And they end up not getting good jobs. And they end up getting in trouble. And they end up not being disciplined. One of the things that you learn from education is not what's in the books, and it's not what your teacher teaches you, and it's not what your parents insist that you do. It's what you do for yourself. And that is you discipline yourself to know what you are supposed to be doing, when you are supposed to be doing it, and why you are doing it. Your discipline, how you control yourself, is one of the things that you get from education. And another thing that you get from education, in this room there are many different types of people, many different interests, many different ages, and many different directions that you want to go with your life to specialize. And so in this room we have a small world. We have many people with many interests and many different types of personalities. And one of our responsibilities to ourselves is to learn to appreciate each person for the gifts that they have been given in this world. So taking advantage of knowing other people, understanding, you don't have to have, everybody in the room doesn't have to be everybody's friend, but everybody in the room has to be respectful of everybody else in the room. You have to have respect. Friendship is a very special thing. Tatiana and I have a friendship, a very deep friendship, but we also have respect. Usually respect will come first. Train yourself to respect other people. They don't have to be like you, and you don't really have to like them as a friend, but you do need to give them respect. And you learn that in school. That's one of the other things you learn. You ask such great questions. And I get to talk for so long when you ask me a question. These are good questions. Anybody else brave enough to ask another question?
And what are your dreams? And did your all dreams come true? Or you still have something to go for?
Oh, listen. I cannot live enough years to do everything I dream of doing. I can't. I said it 3 times, and this is number 4. You keep saying yes. If you keep saying yes, you don't get old. You only get old when you stop. And if you say yes, you're moving. No stops you. So you don't say no. You say yes. I have lots of dreams. I love to travel. I like to do my artwork. I like to lecture. I'm going to be lecturing to Nina's classes and some other classes this week. I like to learn. I like to study. I love people. I enjoy watching people do things that they enjoy. So I have lots of dreams. You don't always have, your dreams don't always come true. That doesn't happen. Not for any of us. But sometimes having a dream will give you a jump to a better dream or a better chance to do something. So, any other questions? Oh, now we have more hands. Good.
How many times have you been in Moscow, and what is the reason of your visits?
The reason for my visit. Every visit that I have made to Moscow has been to work with schools. And also to travel and have a good time and eat some of your delicious cake. All right, and some champagne once in a while too. I can't tell you how many, I tried to think the other night, in fact on the plane I was even trying to count. I don't know how many times I've been to Moscow. That's how many times I've been here, a lot of times. Maybe more times than you are old, I don't know. But I've been here a lot. I don't feel that I'm not home when I come to Moscow. I just feel, I just got off the plane and here I am. It's not a strange city for me. I enjoy it.
What is your first experience? What is your first experience of starting your school? When you started, you have to start.
What is my first experience
Of starting.
of starting this school? Looking at Tatiana and deciding we had a dream, we had a plan. Okay, what do we do next? Now, Tatiana gets most of the credit. She did all of the work. She's the one who lives in Moscow. She's the one who makes sure that we have lights and we have a building, okay? She's the one who makes sure that you have teachers. She's the one who does all of the hard work. My work was easier. I did some of the same things in the United States that she was doing here. So it wasn't that I wasn't working, but I work harder in the United States. Come here and support Tatiana. That's what I do.
We know that you lead lectures about Andrei Rublev, but my question is, how did you become interested in this person and in icon painting generally?
Oh, my background is, of course, is art. And somebody asked me a question, and because it hasn't been asked yet, I'm going to answer it ahead of time. Somebody wanted to know when I got started with my interest in art. That's an unusual story. When I was three years old, my parents decided to buy new furniture. And one of the pieces of furniture they bought was a white sofa. And I remember playing on the floor and seeing the men come in with this white sofa. And they put it in the living room. And my parents said, "Don't go in the living room without us. You have the rest of the house to play in. Don't go in there." You don't want to say that to me. Not even when I was 3. So I waited till my parents were busy with my baby sister. And I only had time. I saw them in the kitchen and they were feeding my baby sister and talking to her. And I was 3 years old. All I had time to do was grab one green crayon. And I took the green crayon in to the living room where the white sofa was. And I was very small when I was 3. I crawled behind the sofa. So I'm this close to the sofa, and I took the crayon and I wrote all over the back of the sofa with the green crayon. And then I thought, I better get out of here because they're going to miss me. So I went back out and I put the green crayon in the box, didn't say anything. My mother was a very, very, very good housekeeper, and she cleaned all the time. And about every 3 weeks, she pulled all the furniture away from the wall and she swept behind the furniture. Wasn't she surprised? 3 weeks after I had done my famous green crayon drawing on the back of the sofa wall, my mother pulled it out to clean. That was interesting. My mother pulled it, and it looks at and who is going in the family is going to have drawn all over the back of the white sofa with a green crayon but me. Well, I heard my father and my mother talking, and they couldn't figure out what to do with me. I had done a terrible thing, but I had done it sometime before they knew about it, so they decided that in order for me to be punished, so I would never do that again. How could I do it again? We only had one white sofa, and I had already drawn all over the back of it. But just so I wouldn't do that again, they decided that my punishment was to take a chair, put it in the room where the white sofa was with the green drawing on it, turn the sofa around, and make me sit for an hour and stare at my drawing. That was the best punishment I ever got in my entire life. I was happy. I was happy. I was looking at my drawing, and I was back from it, too. I could see it. Now, I had always said that of all of the artwork I've ever done, that was my best piece of work. Do you know why? Because when they moved, they threw the sofa away, so nobody can say I'm wrong. I am right. It's the best piece of work I ever did. I was 3 years old, and it was on the back of a white sofa. Since that time, I've done art all of my life. I just love it. So when I not only do art, but I like to study artists. And I like to study what they think, how they lived. And so the artists from different countries, whether it's Italy or Spain or England or Russia, United States, all of these artists interest me. And so when I talk about them, it's because I've done a lot of studying on them. Next question.
Well, you said you like trying the Russian cakes. What's your favorite Russian cake?
What is my favorite Russian what?
Cake.
Cake? Oh, please, don't make me pick. I'll eat whatever's on the table. I love them all. Oh, yes, and the last time I was here, I took special pictures of cakes that were downstairs. I still have them. I still have the pictures of the cake. Any Russian cake is my favorite cake. Any one. Honest.
Yeah, one more question. Sorry, one more question from Vera.
Do you have any connections to schools and universities of other countries besides Russia?
I don't anymore. I did for a while. I did exchange programs similar to this one with a school in Austria, in Graz, Austria. That was the only other one. This is my favorite.
Well, you're an artist. So what's your attitude towards modern art and different kinds of modern art?
What you have to watch, see where art is concerned, what we have to watch is that new artists do sometimes very crazy things. And some of those crazy things turn out to be wonderful. And the people who did the crazy things are people like Pablo Picasso, or they are people like Henri Matisse. They are all kinds of people who do things that are a little different. But along with those people are other people doing things that we never learned about and never know about because they didn't become famous. Sometimes modern artists, sometimes contemporary, today's artists. Sometimes today's artists will create work that is different, just to be different, and it's not good. When you look at art, you look at art to understand it. And a piece of art connects three things. It's like three legs on a stool. There's the artist, there's the artwork, and there's the person who looks at it. And it takes all three. The artist has to have background and know what they are doing and why they are doing it. Not to be just unusual or odd, but to do something meaningful that comes from their soul. Like an artist like Ripon. Ripon who painted so much of the social history of this country. And who also, if you look at a picture, a portrait that Ripon painted that is of Nicholas II, and you look at the photographs of Nicholas II, it's the same. He really understood, and when he painted a picture, he put around the person, he put what that person represented. He painted Ripon in one of the great palaces in St. Petersburg. Ripon painted Nicholas II in one. He's showing Nicholas II and how he liked to live. He also painted a picture of Ivan the Terrible, which is a terrible picture, but it's a wonderful picture because it tells the story of Ivan the Terrible. It shows Ivan the Terrible when he killed his son. And when he killed his son, Ripon didn't live then, but Ripon put into the picture the pain on the father's face for having done what he did in a fit of anger to his son, and the cane that he hit him with is on the ground, and the palace that he lived in, it's all there. That's a very important painting. Not an easy painting to study because it's painful to look at that. But a good painting because it speaks, it says things. Now, if you look at that painting and you don't know anything about the artist, and you don't know anything about Ivan the Terrible, and you don't know anything about art, then you could look at a photograph and it wouldn't mean anything more. You have to educate yourself to look at art as well as to make art. You have to understand what the person was trying to say that did the art, what the subject was about that they were trying to present. And when you go to it, you have to look at it and have some intelligence about what that is about. And then when you have those three things and they work together, then there's a decision that can be made as to whether or not it's good art. And I come back now to where your question was. Modern art, some modern art will live on for centuries and be famous. We don't know what those pieces are yet because we're living in this time. The people who live many, many years beyond us will be the ones that will make that decision. But right now, we simply have to pick what we like and not be overwhelmed by, not be overcome by just something that's different and odd, because it just may be that. It just may be different and odd, and that's it. There was an artist one time who used to take things that he found in the street and make them into, his name was Marcel Duchamp, and make them into something. He called them found art. He would go out and find something, and then he'd say it was art. One time he moved from one studio to the next, and his very own sister, he had found this rack that you dry bottles on. Had these spikes that almost looked like a hedgehog. It had these little posts that come up around it, and you put the bottle on, the bottle dried. It was one of his found art pieces. His sister looked at this piece of metal in his studio, and she was cleaning. She threw it out. She threw it away because she thought it was a piece of junk. She didn't know it was any good. So sometimes you just never know. Art is a fascinating thing to study and to learn about, but you always have to have a sense of what you're looking at, who did it, and what it really represents to get it, even with modern art.
Thank you.
After our talk finishes, I want you to make some exploration job. If you take the right staircase and go upstairs to the 4th floor, you will find a picture on the wall of a church covered with snow. The picture is hers. Just have a look at it later. Before I ask you for more questions, I wanted to ask Elaine. Yesterday you had some questions in written form from the students. If you liked some of them, will you please comment on them?
Oh, I'm going to pick an easy one first, all right? Somebody asked me, Dennis, where are you, Dennis?
Dennis Gladkov, show yourself.
Raise your hand. Oh, is that you? Okay. Your question, you said, what cities have you visited in Russia? It's an easy question. I can answer that quickly. Kiev, Moscow, St. Petersburg, and many of the cities in the Golden Ring. That's a good one. That was quick. Now, how about some more? Okay, that one has to do with art, so I've already answered that one. I picked out some of these. Oh, here's another very short, quick one. How would you describe your personality in one word? Enthusiastic. Maybe yes. Maybe yes is my personality, huh? Maybe that's the word. Oh, this one was good. Tatiana and I both liked this one. Were you nervous when you did the student exchanges with the pupils? Some days, yes. Some days, no. Whenever you take somebody else's children to another country, as Tatiana did when she came to the United States, or I did when I brought the children from the United States to Moscow, you can become a little nervous. Especially, for example, if somebody gets homesick and they want to go home and it's a bit of a distance. You can't get there in a car in half an hour. It's a long ways from Moscow to Pennsylvania. So sometimes you get a little bit nervous about their condition. Sometimes you get a little nervous about their circumstances. I had one boy who was going down in the metro right off of Lenitsky Prospect, and he was jumped by some gypsies, some children, and it was, I wasn't there, but I heard about it, so I wasn't as nervous as I might have been if I'd have been there. But what was wonderful about it is that the only other people with him were 3 girls from the United States, and the 3 girls beat up on the gypsies. It was, I guess, kind of funny when it happened, but I was a little nervous after I found out about it. They used their bags, book bags, and they just started hitting on the gypsies, and the gypsies were shocked that these girls were doing this. They thought the boy would be the strong one, but no, he was scared, and the girls just... So yes, there has been some interesting experiences. Tatiana and I have had quite a few of those. That was about art. Let's see. That was about art. A lot of you were interested in the art. Oh, here's one that's interesting. Do you think that religion and politics, do you think that religion is connected with politics? I think the two are separate. They are both equal. I think this. Politics is about in any country. The politics and the government has to do with how the people choose to live, how they want to live, and how they allow other people to make laws for them to live by. Over here is religion. Religion is a very personal thing. And religion is how you choose to live and how you choose to think. And that's different from government and politics. There was a famous writer, philosopher, Khalil Gibran, who said, your life is your religion. Your life is your religion. When you enter into it, take with it your all. In other words, every day you live, you are living your religion. You are living what you think. You are living what you believe. You are living how you want your life to be and the direction that you want it to move, because every day that's what we do. So I think the two can connect, but as far as the two being the same, no. But I think that if we have good people who are in charge of our politics, it's to our advantage. I have a brother-in-law who is a politician, my sister's husband. One of the things that he did during his career was he supported the Children's Hospital here in Moscow. People who have a good, strong faith and know who they are, and also work to make sure that our lives and our countries are good and the laws are fair, that's when we have a winning team. And we have to kind of be that way ourselves. We have to try to make ourselves part of the winning team that moves our countries ahead. Other questions?
Elaine, I'm afraid I have to ask you the last question because of the time.
Okay.
What question seemed the most interesting to you in today's meeting?
I think the one that probably was the longest and the first, which was how in heaven's name did I ever get here? How did the Russians ever find out about me? And what am I doing here now? And, you know, and on that same note, one of the questions that was here on these sheets was about how do I feel about being in Moscow and the Russian people. I remember the first time I came here, and I was sitting in a taxi with a Russian woman I'd never met before. Her name was Yulia. And she said, she looked at me and she said, "You look like me." And I go, "Yes." She said, "But you're an American." And I said, "Yes." She said, "I didn't think that you would be like me." I said, "How am I going to be? I'm a person. I'm a person. My ancestors came from Sweden. So, you know, I'm not that far away. If you go back a generation or two, they came from Sweden. So, yes, I look like you. I don't talk with the same accent, and my Russian is not very good. But we are more alike than we are different. But we will be as different as we choose to be. If you choose not to be different, if you choose to be like other people, if you choose to care about other people, you will make a difference, and that's a good difference. So we're all pretty much alike, except that some of us talk a lot and the rest of us listen a lot, and you've been a wonderful, wonderful audience. I've certainly enjoyed my time with you very, very much. Thank you.
The last question to the audience. What interesting things did you learn today? What really impressed you today? Do you have any impressions to share?
I was incredibly impressed by the mail that was sent from Russia to the United States. It's the way I can't even imagine today.
And I was impressed about your enthusiasm and optimism and this like yes woman thing I really adore. So I totally agree that we have to be really ambitious, and that I like your lifestyle and that you achieved a lot no matter that there were some difficulties. So thank you, it was amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now, I invite everybody here to join Elaine for a school picture. And after we finish with the pictures, we all go to the school library because you know that it has some intrigue.